Good morning and welcome to a thought for the week here at Manvers Street Baptist Church, and a reading for you today from Matthew chapter 9 verses 36 to 38. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were like a sheep without a shepherd. Then he said, "The harvest is plentiful, but the labourers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out labourers into his harvest." There are two kind of images here, aren't there, in the verses that we've just read, where Jesus is speaking and reflecting on the crowd that he saw. The first is this concept of seeing the crowd as sheep without a shepherd. Now, we've touched before on the metaphor of sheep and how sheep are, kind of defenseless, easily led into difficult situations. They will follow the crowd, even if that crowd isn't going to a good place. And they are absolutely in need of a shepherd to lead them and to guide them, a shepherd to protect them. It's one of the oldest and kind of noblest of professions, one that was actually often, as we reflect on the birth of Jesus, was looked down upon. And the shepherds who were keeping watch over the sheep in the fields outside of Bethlehem were often kind of ostracized. They weren't able to attend the kind of religious festivals and the rites of passage and the ceremonies because they were busy looking after the sheep. Even looking back to the time of King David, David is the youngest of the kids, Jesse's children. So he is the one out looking after the sheep. Very often in those times, it was women who looked after the sheep. So it's not always a job that was seen in the cultures of the day as one that was particularly prized and sought after. But it was a significant role. And of course, if you are a sheep, then you really do know your need for a shepherd. If you're a sheep that's wandered off, got lost, got separated from the flock, then you are desperately in need of a shepherd. If there is a wolf coming and knocking at the door, then you know how much in need of a shepherd you are. If your flock has a tendency to wander to places that are not good for you, then you desperately know how much in need of a shepherd you are. And Jesus looks at the people and he realizes that they are like sheep without a shepherd. But of course, as he says in John's Gospel, he says, "I am the good shepherd." So he recognizes their need for a shepherd, but he actually steps in and becomes the shepherd that they need. And for us, as we reflect on our own lives and the ways that we tend to wander and the ways that we kind of get into trouble, or the ways that we are preyed upon by circumstances or by people sometimes, people even within our families, or sadly even within church, where we are vulnerable and we need a shepherd. Jesus has stepped in to be your good shepherd as well. He can lead you and guide you. He can provide places where you are sustained, where you're fed, where you're watered. He can help you to lay in those green pastures where your soul can be restored. And even though you walk through the valley of darkness, you find yourself in dark places, he is there with you. And because of that, you need not fear any evil. So that's the first image. And the second image is, the Lord of the harvest, that the harvest is great and plentiful, but the workers are few. So, Jesus reflects on all those people who are sheep without a shepherd, not just those who are there in that moment on the hillside, but those across the world, across all time and cultures, all those who are yet to come after, who are like sheep without a shepherd, but who need to be brought in. Like the harvest is out in the fields. It's great, but it needs to be brought in so that it can become useful. And so the harvest that is out there, people who are out there who need to be brought into the kingdom of God, a great task. And of course, Jesus has done the hard work. He's done all the work that needs to be done in order that people are able to come. But, what about telling them? Who is going to tell them? There's some great words in Romans where Paul talks about that, where he's saying, how will they hear unless someone tells them? And how will someone tell them unless somebody is sent? And how will someone be sent unless there's a group that come together to commission them to go? For it is said, how beautiful on the mountain are the feet of those who bring good news. So not only are you a sheep that is part of God's flock and you have a shepherd, but you are also called to be a labourer in the harvest that is going to bring people into the kingdom. And you do that through, as Paul says, always being willing to give a reason to anyone who asks you for the hope that you have, but to do that with gentleness and respect. And so when people ask you, simple things that, people might say to you, what did you do at the weekend? You can say, well, I went to church at the weekend. Oh, you go to church? I've not been to church for years. And you can say, well, you should come and check it out. We got a fellowship lunch on Palm Sunday. So why don't you come along, share some food with us, hang out with us. It's a great opportunity. Very non-threatening environment with great food as always and wonderful company. So there are opportunities for you to be part of God's mission in bringing people into the kingdom. We got great people a shout out to Ian and Julia in our church who invite people every single time to these meals, and we can really learn from their example and their willingness to put themselves out there and to invite others to come along. So who are the people that you might want to invite? Who are the people that you might be part of bringing in a harvest? Because the prayer is, and Jesus tells us this is what we should pray, ask the Lord of the harvest to send more workers. But you can also, as well as praying that prayer, be an answer to that prayer. And you too, through the way that you live and through the relationships that you have and your willingness just to share your faith. You don't have to, stand up on a soapbox on Milsom Street and share the gospel like that. Just be willing to give a reason to anybody asks you for the hope that you have, and then find opportunities and places and points of connection where people can explore more, whether that's cafe church, again, a very non-threatening environment for someone to come in and just sit and engage and hear about the Christian message. So as we continue to journey through Lent together, and as we reflect on those words that I've read this morning, may you know that your shepherd walks with you, that you are not alone, that he guides, restores and protects you. And may you be part of his mission to bring others in so that they too might experience that guiding and protection of the Good Shepherd. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.